So today, thanks for everyone joining us here for IT4 Spotlight. And today we have April Young and Kim Smith from Camp Maple Leaf. And they're our first not-for-profits under our mission to support 1,000 people who make a positive difference. And thanks for having you here today and joining me in our first Spotlight. One of the big questions that everyone's going to have a question about or want to know and understanding, everyone talks about camp, everyone's been to camp, but they may have not reflected on what it did for them. So what I wanted to ask was, camp in general, why does it exist, or what is the foundation of the benefits of going to camp as a child?
I will start. What camp in general is to me, what's great about camp, why I made it my whole life and my whole career, is it's the one place in the universe where you can create this utopian society where kids and young adults as their counselors and their role models can be the best them they are, where they're supported by the others around them, so they'll take risks and push themselves, like auditioning for a musical theater production when they've never been on stage before, knowing that they'll be supportive. So I think it's amazing that way. And also, where else in the world can you say that this is no technology free? The kids don't even know what that even means, and where they actually just learn to talk and learn to communicate in other ways, right? Which is amazing, and a sense of safe freedom that we're lucky on it. We have an island, but where you can say run free for free time, and they know that they're safe, and they know they can run out the door of the lodge and make their own fun. Kind of like when I was a kid and they said, come home when the street lights come on. They don't get that. So it's really nice to feel that and know that they're in a safe, supportive place.
Excellent. Kim?
Jason, what is camp and what is its foundation is a question that probably if you asked every camping professional, you get a bit of a different answer. For me, camp is a place where, as an 8-year-old boy, for the first time in my life, I was away from my mother and father. I was with a group of other boys because I went to boys' camp, and we were 8 years old, and we were all living in a cabin. And for the first time, we kind of had to be on our own without mom and dad, and so that was probably my very first lesson in independence.
Independence, right?
Living independently, and camp provides that by its very nature. Camp provides a lesson, a life lesson in living independently, in cooperating with one another, in living in a community with one another harmoniously, and it provides a chance for kids to be outside in nature and play and have fun in front of a lake or by a river or in the woods. And so those are opportunities that in an urban society are not afforded to every child.
Right.
And so that's important. And for me personally, it was a place where those boys that were in that cabin with me and that I went to camp with many years ago are still among my best friends. And so it's a lifetime of camp connections and camp friendships and camp support. The other thing about camp is that because of the model and the way we run our camps certainly in North America, with young adult leaders as the primary staff members, it's an opportunity for those adult leaders to learn life skills and job skills that will stand them in stead. I know that if you're applying for a job and the person or company the HR department who's interviewing you is a camp person, and they see on your resume that, he was a counselor or she was a counselor at a It's just the same as when we're hiring people. We like to see their leadership and we like to see their qualifications and the fun they have, but when I see somebody who's also was born and raised on a farm, they have an edge. So yeah. There are skills that young adults learn, and there are that are life skills that stand them in great stead for the rest of their lives. So but most of all, camp is fun for kids in a great setting, outdoors and with each other.
Excellent, excellent. Now, from there, we wanted to talk about the history of Camp Maple Leaf. It had to start somewhere, then it had to have a journey, and now it is where it is today. So what would that look like?
So Camp Maple Leaf was started in 1955 by a group of World War II veterans who called themselves the Canadian Council of War Veterans. They were an amalgamation of a number of smaller veterans organizations in the Niagara Peninsula area, Hamilton area, and they thought that they could do a give back by having a camp for what were then called underprivileged children, and that's in their original mission. So they raised some money and found a site on Pigeon Lake that in the Kawarthas on the Trent Severn system, and the site was a tourist resort on the Trent, and they purchased the site. It's a 100-acre island, over 100-acre island, right on the main channel of the Trent on Pigeon Lake, and the Canadian Council of War Veterans ran Camp Maple Leaf until the early 90s, and as you can imagine, World War II veterans by the early 90s were kind of running out of steam a bit, and so they found an organization in the Hamilton area called Banyan Community Services, who primarily provided programming for inner city children and families in the Hamilton area, and Banyan took over the operation at Camp Maple Leaf, and they operated it until 2014. They decided that they weren't going to operate it anymore, and my foundation, I'm the owner and operator of a summer camp for girls in Algonquin Park called Camp Tanamacoon. And Tanamacoon just finished its 95th summer in Algonquin. We have a little foundation that I started about 15 years ago that donates to women's and children's charities. And as we went through that process with our foundation, we found smaller groups of children who would like to go to camp together, with children with unique needs, and but didn't have their own camp and weren't ever going to have their own camp, and didn't have quite the profile of some of the other major groups of children with unique challenges. So the idea that I had was to have a camp where those children could come to camp and their organization, and they would know that the third week of July every year, that's our camp, and that's when we go to camp, and that would help the organization promote camp for their children, and it would help the organization who aren't camping professionals. We would provide camp, and each organization would provide the children and their expertise, their professional expertise if needed, and so it would be a great match. And I've been fortunate that camp has been a great central part of my life, my whole life, and it was a great give back spot for me as what IT Force is doing is what IT Force is doing for 1,000. That's a big number for 1,000.
It's a big one.
It is a big number. So that's how Camp Maple Leaf was taken over by our charity. I was fortunate enough to be able to have April Young hired as our first employee, and she's been without peer in her field, and she has in large part built most of the camp and its program and its following, and we've been very lucky to be able to work with her. So and Camp Maple Leaf continues to grow. We have we're serving 9 different children's populations with unique challenges now. 9, am I right? Yes.
9 different.
Yes, 9 different ones. So it's been
You're going to run out of weeks.
well, yeah, we have
That's
some,
another
we have
story.
some sharing. We have some sharing.
Okay,
yeah, we do
okay.
have some sharing. But so that's a little bit about it. So
Okay.
the camp is owned by the Camp Tanamacoon Charitable Foundation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Now we talked about the history and about camp itself. Let's just talk a little bit about, you mentioned each week has a specialty, and maybe April, you can tell us a little bit about the benefits of having them together during the focus and where do you see the differences between a camp of girl camp or a co-op camp or what have you, but a camp of this speciality?
Sure. Okay, well, we talked that camp is important for all children. I really believe in camp. But for children who have a unique life challenge, it's that tenfold. The interesting thing is it doesn't matter really what the unique life challenge is.
What would a unique life challenge be,
so that's
just
a good
for those
example.
who...
So, and people confuse it sometimes with us saying that is it a disability? We have lots of children with disabilities because we take children of all abilities within the unique life challenge.
Okay.
So the difference is a unique life challenge is anything that a child would have to go through that most children don't have to go through in the world. So that's what we mean by unique, and it's a bit more rare. But when a group comes with a challenge, and sometimes it's so rare they don't know other children even that would have the same challenge. And some examples, I'll go through just some of who our groups are, and that's the easiest way to share it. So children of the military families, they have the unique challenge of their parents being deployed or going away from them for unlimited amounts of time. The anxiety of are they going to be okay? When are they going to come back? Having to pick up and move schools at a moment's notice in the middle of semester sometimes to a different country with their family, and having to make new friends and pack up again and leave some stuff behind.
You don't think about these things.
You don't think
it's
about
like
them.
you're like
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kids of the military. We have kids of heroes, and these are any type of heroes, include first responder as well as military, who their parents have an operational stress injury due to their service. And those kids go through a lot as well, that they're...
Change in life?
Yeah. Their parents, by being heroes, they injured their brain have changed the family forever. And the kids themselves are heroes, that they support their parents in their new challenges. So we have that group, kids of heroes, and we have children as well who are from under-resourced families as well, and from our local communities. We have children who have dwarfism as well, and children who have facial differences. That's a group. Children who are grieving the death of a parent or a sibling, and so that's a supportive group as well. And children with Tourette syndrome. And our last group that has just joined us this year, hot off the press, is children with Down syndrome.
Okay, that's a lot of groups.
It's a lot of different groups. And anyways, and they're all unique, but the camp itself is got a lot of commonalities. So when kids come together, I like to say that one day at camp is like 7 in the city. It's like dog years, right? That's how fast you bond. When they get off the boat, they might not know a soul. And by the end of the week, our number one goal, because we have 6 goals at the camp, the number one goal is friendships that follow you home.
Well, that's what you brought home in that camp or that cabin, those at grade 8 or at 8 years old.
That's right.
Yeah, and we want them to make the seed is here, and then when they go home, they're going to keep in touch. Even though we don't have social media at camp, we encourage it in the city because that's how they keep in touch.
Because they're coming from distances.
Yeah.
To a central place. Yeah.
Exactly, and kids who are friends, who are going through the same things, they learn from each other. They get resilience from learning they're not alone, and what are the other tips that the other kids go through, how do they deal with bullies, how all of this kind of stuff. How do they adapt if it's a physical thing, how do they adapt their environment? So they learn from each other, and they realize wow, you know what, people understand what I'm going through, even if they have never met another child with that challenge before. And so by it following them home, this friendship, then it's really the fancy term is peer support. There's no better peer support than friendship because it's the real thing.
They can relate to each other and help each other.
And they can call each other up or send a text when they've had a bad day and know that they have friends all over the place.
Life therapy.
Yeah. So it's amazing. So they get all of this stuff from coming to camp for a week. So yes, we do canoeing and musical theater and rock walls and carnivals, but it's the conversations that happen in the canoes between the kids in a safe environment that make camp that important in the development, and a lot of people call it therapeutic, and there's therapy in friendship.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Yeah.
Kim?
Yes, Jason. I agree with April, of course. 'cause
On the
that's
purpose of Camp Maple
Yes,
Leaf.
yes, and I just to kind of expand on it a little bit, I think that the ability with these unique children, one of the benefits, the support benefits, is meeting other children with unique challenges. And then when a 9-year-old girl with a birthmark on the left side of her face meets another 9-year-old girl who has a cleft palate, and they say, hey you, hey me, yeah, I'm not alone in the world, there's somebody else who
I'm dealing with the same challenges.
that's right. And that is a huge measure of support for those children. And the parents of those children recognize that and are anxious that their child receive that support from its peers, be it male or female. And so I think that is one of the things that is really important about the groups that we deal with, because we have children whose parents actually send them. There is a child with Tourette's syndrome in Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Labrador, whose parents drive him to
Labrador.
Labrador
Okay.
to Camp Maple Leaf in the Kawarthas in Ontario every summer, because they know and believe how important that week at camp for that 14-year-old boy with Tourette's syndrome is to be with other children who have similar challenges. And we have children coming by plane from other parts of the country. So it's a meeting point for those children to be with each other and to realize that they aren't alone in the world, and to share stories about how they cope with their uniqueness, if you will.
That kind of validates the importance, because if people are willing to do that commitment, come in from across the country for this 1 week, makes you think, they're doing it for their kids. So,
And they see the results when the kids
well,
get
that's
home,
what I
too.
mean. That's the true value, is like they're willing to sacrifice that to make sure their kids get there for
And
that
then they
week.
have to stay for a week at a cottage.
Right, because
or,
they're not.
rent a
Yeah.
place,
So it's like, all right, and then okay,
and then you
so
drive back. That's
right.
true.
So that's a commitment, right? So that's
Yeah.
really validating the value in what's happening to these children.
Generally in the
Wonderful.
camping industry, parents learned over the years that parents, be it camp or be it organized sports or be it piano music, or parents will always step up if they can to make sure that an experience that they believe is important for their child, that
Right.
their child get that experience.
They'll make that commitment.
They will. And so we're, Camp Maple Leaf and so many other camps in Ontario, Canada, and in North America are fortunate that there are that many people who recognize the value of the experience and are willing to send their children to camp year after year after year.
Excellent. April, when we first met, you'd already had some kind of relationship with one of our staff members, which was quite significant in our mission to support 1,000 people and make a positive difference, because part of that mission was to connect people in our organization. We've been working very hard for the last 20 years, helping people, that's great, but it didn't see the fulfillment in it. It was just like, all right, keep the businesses going, but there had to be more, and this is where my partner, Scott, took a mission on to finding out a bigger purpose for our organization, which came out to support 1,000 people. But how do we connect it? Well, we felt connecting it was to allow our clients to offer opportunities for not-for-profits, our staff to put forth not-for-profits, and of course we did have a little process, and we had 3 of our not-for-profits come into a list from our staff, and one was you guys. So tell me a little bit about how you first met Daxon, and what did that storyline, because now, because of that, we're here today, and many other things going on, but today is one of those things, right?
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how, I guess, fate brings people together and how things roll out. And so I have the fortunate, lucky job of being the camp director at the camp where Daxon's daughters go for the little people of Ontario. So one of his daughters has dwarfism, and the two girls came to us. So anyways, we have Illy and Aria, I believe I got it right. It's a very interesting names. Anyways, I only have 800 or so names.
Yeah, you did good.
Thank you.
I don't know if you practiced beforehand or you remembered.
No, I
Either way.
happen to spend a lot of time with these girls
Oh,
because
good,
I've
good.
seen them at their conferences, and
Yes.
it's really nice because their family has even helped us fundraise by helping us spin cotton candy
Oh,
at
right.
the girls' school.
Yeah, because
So
you
it's-
guys have a number of those things that go on.
yeah. So it's really nice. So I really got to know the family over the last few years of being part of the Little People of Ontario community, because that's one of the things that, that's important to our organization.
Because that's one of your weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, we're part of their extended family for us, right? So anyways, then I guess one day, I think it might have even been, I'm not sure if it was at camp or at the conference, but we were talking in person with Daxon about this thing that you're doing and about the computers, and it went right over my head because though he's a very interesting guy, computers are not my thing.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
listening like, and I'm thinking, I've had problems with my emails in the past. I'm like, great, if we can fix the email challenge, then that's amazing. Like I literally thought it might be something like that, just
Right.
fix the emails.
Right.
So he said, can I pursue this and push along? I said, hey, he says, it won't cost you, the organization, anything. I said, well, we love free stuff, So anyways, and so then, I basically put Daxon in touch with some members of our organization that know more about computers than I do to
Yeah.
help bring it to the next level and stuff. And when I heard that we won and we
That
became
you
the
won.
camp,
You won.
I didn't even know what we won until we won it. And then I'm like, wow, I can't believe it actually does all that stuff. So some of the things why I think ours was the perfect organization to help is because we're such dinosaurs when it comes to technology in our
Okay,
office.
yeah.
We're really fish with sticks from the tree is
Which
who
is
the camps are.
what you practice at camp.
Correct. That's truth.
So you're bringing your
what we are.
mantra home to the organization.
Yeah,
and
you
in
know
the
what? We're a low bells and whistles, all about people and heart.
Keep the
is
camp
what we
running.
are.
The
you know?
children, right?
It's all about
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah.
And if you come visit the camp, you realize that's who we are. We're not a flashy camp. We're about people. And so, anyways, I thought, you know what? It's amazing that you guys, I believe, have made a huge difference to our organization now, but into the future when you don't know what's broken until it's pointed out to you, like, you know what I mean, of what could happen. And I feel much more protected with our information, with our just everything, backing up all the years of work I put in. I wasn't
Right.
sure if my backups were working, and now I feel confident that they are. So I know communication is going to be tighter within all of us. We'll hopefully save money because we don't have to travel as much for meetings, so we can do things online more.
Yeah, because you guys have,
Yeah.
the distances is one of the things that you had brought to my attention, Kim.
Yeah, and one of the things I find that's been great is I thought the only thing is that because none of us are really computer people, is this gonna be really, really hard? And because I know for myself, I can only speak for myself, that I don't even speak the language, and the patience of IT Force, when you call, somebody answers, and they follow up and they get you your answers. And this has only been within a few weeks, but I have really found that through every challenge, the growing pains, that we haven't been, in my experience, I haven't been laughed at. Nobody's been frustrated with me.
Maybe we laugh together.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Big
it's getting done.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's getting done, and I
Yeah.
think that it's amazing. We've gone to a place I didn't even know we won, but we won it.
Now, Kim, when you first came to meet with me here at this facility, where are you today compared to where you were on that day? Because I remember being in the room with you and Jay.
That's right, and
you were patient
I'm
with
gonna
me.
I'm going to try and attempt to answer that.
Okay.
And I think where I am is I think I'm just at the beginning of a process that is going to translate into huge efficiencies for Camp Maple Leaf, efficiencies in the charitable field mean more dollars can go directly to what you do,
Which is the goal.
which is the camp.
Yeah.
And, you know, less money is going to have to be spent on administration. I mean, I've already seen, and we've already talked about within the organization, how this is going to make this aspect, whatever it might be, of
Right.
our, so much easier in our business. I mean, the record keeping, you know, we have, we have records, registration records for children, we have reports on children, we have medical.
Yeah, we
you know,
talked
like,
about
like
that a
any,
lot,
any
yeah.
business we have, and some are confidential, and I won't tell you where they're, currently they're stored in
Yeah.
paper form in a safe, file storage, but it'll be nice to be able to have those and know how to access them. But I think the other hidden benefit here is, and it seems odd, but I think this will happen, that is that we will actually work. Our team is a bit spread out, so we have people one of our people is centered in Toronto. We have our maintenance people are close to the site or on site, and we have our office in Oakville. I think we will be able to work much more closely together by not having to move 1 inch, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think that I can see that the offerings of IT Force and what they're bringing to our organization, that's going to make a big difference for us. And I think too that as an organization, we've always, any organization I've been involved with, like most organizations, we want to pride ourselves in being up to date, and we want to pride ourselves in being working with professional, knowledgeable other organizations and suppliers, and I certainly, after even our first meeting, I walked away with some real confidence in IT Force. Still wondering a lot about exactly how it was going to work,
Right, yes, yes.
but when you have the first meeting and you see a glimpse of what can be done,
Okay.
and then you start to see it unfold. It's been good, and again, for me, the importance of the knowledge and the professionalism are a big measuring stick.
Wonderful. So we're still early in the relationship with IT Force and Camp Maple Leaf in our mission to support 1,000 people who make a positive difference. And what that is for us to use what we do every day. We do it for all our businesses, so why not offer it without any change? So our guys don't know any different. All they do is just help you and giving you the IT support that you guys need on your day-to-day basis. Now, since it's still early, but I wanted to ask you, has there been a moment in time or something you've come across that has been, say, a major hurdle that you felt that we've already accomplished or close to coming to move you forward over, that you would have never happened if we hadn't started this relationship?
Like a challenge.
It could be technical, whatever.
Challenge in IT land that you've helped us.
Yeah, I
overcome?
guess IT would be the best,
Okay.
because we talked a lot about all the mission and the purpose and all that. But yeah, let's more about the IT side of things where.
All right. Well, I left my computer in the car by accident for about an hour on a cold day since then. And I'm like, left my computer in the car. And I thought to myself, well, at least, thank goodness, everything's backed up.
Oh, right. Hey,
And it turns
okay.
out it worked. It warmed up. But it's is that what you mean? Because that's
Well,
a huge
that's
hurdle.
your first feeling is
Yeah.
fear, and then you're like, but now
Of
the
the
new way,
material.
that fear is no longer. So you're right. It
Right.
will take some time to stop the bad or feelings that you used to have because of the new way. So
Well, I
you're
just
right.
feel protected, and
Okay.
that's a very, like, of all the work, that's a good thing, because it was all on my laptop before.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
But now it's in your cloud.
It's yes, with us,
Right.
partnering with Microsoft, we've got everything organized so that we have it in a safe, secure place. That your laptop's just a tool now.
Right.
So whether you needed a new one, you get back in, your stuff is ready to go. Kind of like Kim, you just got yourself a new laptop.
I did, and so now I'm ready to embrace fully the capabilities that IT Force brings and Microsoft bring to our little organization. And I think, as I indicated, I think our ability to work more closely together is going to be important. I think the efficiencies are going to become, for the camp and for our particular business, I think the efficiencies are going to become on the communication side.
Right.
And so we'll be able to know where each other is or are, and what we're doing, and I guess as the executive director, I'll also be able to measure more closely progress
on projects.
On projects.
Yes, that was a key one we
Yes,
talked about.
yes. And so I can see that is all there for Camp Maple Leaf going forward.
Wonderful.
With the help of IT Force.
Great. One question, Kim, I had, just to help understand more about Camp Maple Leaf. I think you're kind of more the visionary style of individual. So maybe just a little summary of what kind of vision do you see? I think you talked a little bit to me about some growth strategy.
So we're happy to talk about that now,
good.
because we can do that. We've been gratified by the reception that our camp has received within our various communities that we serve. We do serve a significant number of children from the Canadian Forces, and as we've developed our relationship with the Military Family Services side of the forces, we are realizing, and they are telling us, that this is a great product, but we are a Canada-wide organization, this Armed Forces thing, and we have many members in other parts of Canada that would be great to maybe have their families have access to a similar program. So one of our great supporters, one of our founding partners, the True Patriot Love Foundation, is helping us now, and we're about to do a feasibility study on a second location for Camp Maple Leaf in Canada. Camp is not, camp by its nature is not a franchise business, and Camp Maple Leaf is what we do, and we are Camp Maple Leaf. So a second location wouldn't be done by a license or a franchise, or it'll be done in an area if we can do it, and if our funding partners help us, and if there's a need, and we think there will be, we will do it ourselves.
So it has to stay connected to the origin.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah. So it's not a license for sale. This has to stay connected.
No.
Okay, understood.
And that's philosophically, that's the way I feel about the product, and practically it is the way you have to deal with the product. You can't, it's not something you can just license and produce a handbook to somebody and say, okay, there you are, there's how to run Camp Maple Leaf, so go have fun.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on board.
So we're excited about that. We're excited
Wonderful.
about we're excited about that. We're excited about we're going to grow our existing camp population to 100 children a week. We've held it at 80 for a lot of reasons as we got started, to make sure that we were off on the right foot and where our operations were running correctly and well. And so we've achieved that goal now, and so we're now going to admit more children, and we're looking for some new user groups on our site. And I actually spent the last couple of days talking with two different potential user groups of again, unique children facing unique life challenges.
Yes.
So and as we and if and when we move to a second location, we'll use the same model. It may not necessarily be the same user groups, because there may be smaller individual user groups locally in other parts of the country that would be a fit at Camp Maple Leaf, and it may be that our current user groups are being well serviced at our present location. So, but the philosophical approach will be the same, and that is we will be looking for children, groups of children and organizations serving those groups of children with unique life challenges.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now we're about to finish up, but one thing I wanted to do is give you guys maybe an opportunity to help people understand how could they get involved. So maybe April, you could tell us from your angle how people could get involved, whether that is at the camp level, and I don't know, volunteering, fundraising, and then maybe Kim, you have an idea, maybe business to business, how people can support or whatever, and just gives people some idea of what that could look like if they wanted to help Camp Maple Leaf.
That's great. Okay, well, how can you help? Or how can I help is the question. I do get asked that a lot,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah.
And so I guess on a number of levels. One is that if anybody out there in IT Force or any of your partners know of children that would benefit from any of our programs, then to spread the word, what we do. And
How would they find out what a child would qualify?
Sure.
Would that be on the website?
On the website.
Okay,
so
website's
yes,
the way
there's
to
a
go,
whole
right?
section
Yeah.
called The Children We Serve.
Okay.
And that's not to say if there's a group of children that they know or that could use it that aren't on the list, that we couldn't accommodate in some way as well. So they can always bring forth.
Because there could be new ideas.
Right, new groups. So there could.
So there could be new ideas or new groups that
Yes.
could spawn
Yeah.
from an idea that someone had.
Yeah, they
I-
know a child who's dealing with a specific condition or life challenge or whatever, that there might be other children in the same boat that they could benefit from being together.
Right.
And if that's the case, spread the word and we'll see who we can accommodate.
Okay.
We do have a little space still in the spring as well in the spring we run family camps for families of children who have a unique life challenge. So the whole family
Okay,
can
so
come.
it's the whole family
Right.
to help the family come together.
Correct,
Okay.
and there's a lot of bonuses there because then we don't have a minimum age of our camper. You can come with the baby. So if you have a newly diagnosed, child with this particular
Oh, right, because
challenge,
they can't go on their own.
right, then you meet parents who are also dealing with the same
Connect
thing.
the parents.
and they
Again,
learn
peer
from each
grouping
other.
again, but at the
Correct.
adult level.
Very powerful family camp. So, so that's one way, is to spread the word of who we are.
Okay.
And of course, we're always looking for different funding sources for our camp. At our camp, all of the participants actually do participate in contributing what they can afford. So, which is nice
Okay.
because they want to contribute, and sometimes financially that's not their challenge. Their challenge is that they have this difference and they need to be there for support, so they want to pay. So
Right,
but,
so they
yeah.
can help contribute to the funding.
It's
So
amazing, right? Because
oh.
then the fundraised dollar spreads even further
Yeah,
to make sure
yeah.
that the kids who can't afford can come. And I believe that's an amazing strength of our charity, which is great. So helping us with different fundraising efforts is great, and spreading the word to. We're a little, we have a lot of kids now, and we are running a time, but we're almost in our infancy, even though we've been doing this for 5 years and it's been around since 1955, of people knowing about this magical island and what's happening here. And it's getting out there, but the more that it gets out there, that for people to adopt us as their charity, or their little island that could, that would be amazing.
Their little island that could.
That's right. And also people have different skills that I say I love to exploit people's talents.
Okay.
So if anybody has, such as yourself, you're able to contribute our IT as
Right.
a service. Somebody else may have another talent that they can contribute, right? Or they do landscaping, and is there
Or
anything
building
I can help? Or
supplies?
building supplies,
Okay.
exactly. Or they have connections to getting us things that cost to run the camp.
Mm-hmm.
We're open to all offers, and it really does take a village to pull this off, and I think it's one of the things that makes us special. So, and then there's also opportunities, depending on different people's skills, of applying to be a volunteer camp staff.
Okay,
So
so
that's
staffing and
Yeah.
hands-on work.
exactly.
Okay.
And for the young adults out there who are in school and have the summers off, to spread the word that we're looking for really great quality, amazing people with big hearts and great judgment leadership. So to let the young adults in your lives know that they may want to work at Camp Maple Leaf, and it's a utopian society for the staff as well as the campers, and they'll have the summer of their life. So that's an amazing place.
That's a lot of ways. But I'm sure, Kim, from your kind of position in the organization, how do you see how people could help the camp in its future strategies.
Ditto.
A ditto.
No, we
Yeah.
you know, as an organization that relies on donors and donor dollars and donor in-kind donations, we think we have an unique story to tell as to what we're doing and who we're doing it for, and we certainly think that people, and many people, understand the value of a camp experience, then they'll certainly understand the value of the Camp Maple Leaf experience.
It's a connection,
And once they understand that, we find that there really is a tremendous willingness to donate. And from a corporate point of view, we're fortunate to have great corporations who also, believe in what we're doing and like our story, and we're able to host donor days. So we've hosted organizations' employees to help us at camp and do a day's work and and that's worked out well, and we're going to continue to do that.
I think rumors are flying around our office about something.
Okay,
I think
you see,
the bug is spreading.
Yeah, maybe I'm opening up a can here, but that's a value to us.
Right,
It's a
okay.
value to us, not only the direct free labor for the day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
last year we got I got a couple of decks taken care of, and we got a piece of equipment built and an interior looked at. Anyway, we got a lot done. But not only that, but it also benefits us from, again, what April was referring to, just getting the word out there and having an employee come to our place, see what we're doing, help us do it, and then, I mean, it allows them to say, that's a pretty neat place.
To get connected.
And we've, we now have people who have done that as employees, and they're now donors, you see.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Excellent.
So they're helping us out. We have 3 or 4 who are regular donors after having visited. So the funding money and the donation dollar is important, and always something that we try to treat our donors with confidence and with dignity, and we also believe that we are showing them that their donation dollars are making a difference.
That's wonderful. Sorry, I just.
Yeah.
Oh, ah.
There you go.
Well, guys, this has been fantastic. Thanks for coming out, April and Kim. I'm Jason. Jason Stitt, co-founder of IT Force. Thanks for visiting us today here on the Spotlight with Camp Maple Leaf, and we hope to see you again next time. Thanks very much. Take care.